workers here are calling on the city of San Diego to mandate a minimum wage of $25 an hour for service workers, a move that would boost wages for thousands of employees at local hotels, the convention center, and event centers like Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium.
Hey, what's up everyone? Ralph here. So it's been about a little bit over a month since California has put in their law where they're increasing minimum wage to $20. And of course, we've seen how businesses responded. And, of course, we've seen people getting laid off. We've seen, of course, they've increased the prices of the goods and services. We've seen even some businesses shut down. But what I forgot to mention in other videos is the fact that what also happens is that, some of these businesses tend to cut back hours on the employees that they do have. Why? Because obviously businesses have a budget, right? They have a budget of how much they're going to spend on labor, and they tend not to go over that budget. So even though a lot of these employees are seeing an increase in their pay per hour, they're still seeing obviously their check not move up, increase by that much, if at all, right? Because these businesses have a budget and they're going to stick to it. So even though, and in some cases you've seen even with these fast food delivery, so like DoorDash, even though they've increased their minimum wage for those DoorDashers, they've been reports where you've seen them get less money. They've made less money over that time period. So even though you think that you're getting this minimum wage increase, you're finding yourself making the same amount of money, if not less. And these are the consequences of when you artificially increase minimum wage.
Just about everything on the menu has gone up.
Customers are feeling the sting of the minimum wage increase. In California, minimum wage for fast food workers went up to $20 an hour on April 1st. A month later, workers excited to earn more money.
To me, it is a big impact because as a low-wage worker, I was earning $18.20.
Pamela Mejia says her hours have been cut at McDonald's, so she has not seen the difference yet. It's happening at a lot of fast food spots, where managers are raising prices and reducing hours.
Before, we were not scared to pay like employees working 45, 42, 43 hours. Now we are really concerned and just getting up to them for 35 hours, the most. Because overtime would kind of cost us a lot.
Sanjeet Kumar, the district manager over 8 Carl's Jr.'s locations, says prices have gone up by about 7%.
It's very difficult for us to stay in business if the cost goes up.
So you can see right there the impact this new minimum wage law is having in places like California. Businesses are going to adjust, right? They're going to adjust, whether it's like I said, laying people off, cutting back hours, or just going out of business. And you can see that, especially in this report, that it says, California loses nearly 10,000 fast food jobs after the $20 minimum wage signed last fall. So you're seeing there's a lot of people even losing their jobs, and this is the impact when you artificially increase minimum wage the way you do. Now, another thing that's also happening, and we're gonna get to, I'm gonna show you a video, is that you see a lot of what happens is like other industries, other employees in other industries are seeing that, all right, fast food workers are getting $20 an hour. So now they're saying, now you got people like janitors and people in the service industry saying, all right, if workers at McDonald's are getting $20, okay, we deserve $25. So they're demanding more. They're demanding a higher minimum wage.
The 1st of May celebrates International Workers' Day, drawing millions of workers throughout the world to the streets, demanding fair pay and better working conditions.
Here in San Diego, hundreds of service workers, from cooks to janitors to hotel staffers, took part. CBS 8's Richard Allen has more on the specific demand they're making and the support they're receiving.
And this May Day, workers here are calling on the city of San Diego to mandate a minimum wage of $25 an hour for service workers, a move that would boost wages for thousands of employees at local hotels, the convention center, and event centers like Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium. Raising their signs and their voices, hundreds of San Diego's service workers marched through downtown San Diego, demanding a nearly 50% increase in the current citywide minimum wage of $16.85 an hour. Among them, Juan Carlos, a cook at the Hilton Bayfront.
We're fighting for janitors, we're fighting for hospitality, we're fighting for all stagehands. All these people are behind the scenes, making it happen, making things happen for everyone's entertainment. I think we should be compensated a little more for our work.
Marching from Bayfront Park in front of the Hilton, through the streets to the Civic Center. Many of these workers pointed to the recently passed pay hike for California's fast food workers.
If McDonald's can make $20 an hour and we bust our butts and we're running around taking care of tables and taking care of our customers, why can't we?
April Bushard.
And you see, that's the issue right there. They're looking at it and saying, oh, McDonald's is making all this money. Like, why can't we do that? Like, we bust our butt just as much as they are. If they can get an increase, then we should be able to get that too, right? So it creates that little domino effect where, you have all these low wage workers saying, you know what, if they can get an increase, then we should be able to get that too as well. And it's gonna, and obviously for a lot of businesses, it's going to create a lot of problems. And you got to understand that this when it comes to when dealing with the minimum wage, you need to understand that businesses are they all have a budget, right? And I understand that you want more money, but in the end, like long term, this is going to hurt you. You may not see it now, and you're looking at it like now. Yes, I'm making $25,000 an hour, which is almost $52,000 a year. In the long run, you're gonna see that they're gonna just move to automation. They're gonna move to robots, and you're gonna eventually lose your job.
A single mom of 3 young kids works at Petco Park's Lexus Club and struggles to make her $3,600 a month rent.
Like I'm scraping just to pay my bills, my rent, everything. It's really hard.
Los ricos don't want to pay you, then they can clean the buildings themselves.
Lorena Gonzalez is chief officer of the California Labor Federation, representing more than 2 million workers statewide.
We know in San Diego the rent's too high and wages are too low.
She's hopeful that San Diego City Council will consider this proposed wage ordinance for $25 an hour for service workers.
It's time that we really lift up these workers who, all during the pandemic, we called essential. We relied on them. They continue to do work. Service workers, people who keep us happy, keep the tourism economy going, and it's time to pay them what they deserve.
And while there's no definite timeline now that this proposed ordinance has been drafted, workers here are hopeful that City Council will consider it and vote on it as soon as possible.
So look let me say this, I understand, things are more expensive, especially if you live in San Diego, California. Things are going to be more expensive. So I can understand it's human nature to say, all right, things are getting more expensive. I need to make more money, right? That's just the human nature. Everybody's going to need more money in order to get the things that they need in order to live. But unfortunately, this is not how it works. This is not how business works. This is not how economics work. Right, and people need to understand. We want, of course, we want people to be able to feed their families. But when you look at it as a business, if you look at economics, all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure long time. And this is why you're going to see businesses going to move to automation. Right, they're going to move to AI. They're going to move to machines, computers, whatever it is they can use to take over your job. And then eventually, your minimum wage is going to be zero. You won't be making no money. You will be unemployed. Right? Relying on the government. Maybe that's what California wants. Okay? But you need to understand that this is not going to work out for you long term. I understand the fight for it. I understand you fighting for it, but you need to understand economics. And this is why and most people don't understand economics. They don't understand business. And all they can do is obviously go off human nature, which is their need. And I need to feed my family. I need to feed myself. So therefore, I need more money. So the easy thing is to say, all right, employer, can you give me more money? Instead of doing it the natural way, which is increase your skills. If you can increase your skills in the marketplace, then you can demand more money. Instead of having having laws created to artificially inflate the minimum wage, all you're gonna do is make things more expensive. You're gonna end up getting your hours cut. You're gonna end up losing your jobs. Your business is gonna go out of business, and then guess what? You're gonna be unemployed, making no money. Now, I understand in the moment you don't know that, but eventually that is what's going to happen. But most people don't really understand the economic aspect when it comes to that. So they go off based on human nature and their need to feed themselves, which I understand. But you got to understand, because then $25 is not going to be enough. Things are going to inflate. Things are going to be more expensive. Then next year, you're going to come back and say, we need $30 an hour. Then 35, then 40, then 50. Then it gets to a point where you're unemployed because eventually a business just says, you know what? We can't afford this, right? We can't continue to do this. It makes no sense for us financially. And you're going to see all these fast food companies, they're just going to move to automation, right? right? They're gonna find a way to cheapen their labor, and then you're gonna be out of a job, right? Because why? Because your skills are not. You don't have enough skills to get something a better job, which is why it's important. And I'm not saying this to denigrate anyone, right? You need to improve your skills, because when you're looking at the future, if you continue to keep forcing these increase in minimum wage, these companies are going to go to automation. They're gonna go to robots, they're gonna go to machines, and you're gonna be out of work. So you need to improve your skills, or you're gonna find yourself just depending on the government, and that's never a good thing as well. So yeah, it just amazes me when you see these things, and now it says $25. Now they're fighting for $25 an hour. Like, where does it stop, right? Where does it end? Well, until you're unemployed, and then now your minimum wage is zero, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.